See, it's live right now. Oh, people are watching.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to welcome you this evening to the 100 Black Men in conjunction with Alpha Kappa Alpha Incorporated. This is a mental health conversation. You may see it as a forum, but this is going to be a conversation. You're about to make some friends. We'll hopefully get to know each other over the course of the next 60 minutes. Right now, I believe we have 4 representatives from each of the Alpha Kappa Alpha chapters. And if I say it wrong, correctly. Lonnie Steeler, Leo Omega, Yolanda Carson, Beta Omega, Brianna Page, Zaytina Omega, and Janelle Jordan of Samantha Row Omega. Are any of them here? Come on up so you can introduce yourselves and make your announcements.
Okay. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Yolanda Carson, serving as the first vice president of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated Beta Omega Chapter. On behalf of our chapter president, Omega Tillman, and our 200 plus dedicated members, I warmly greet you. Tonight, we invited you to join us for an engaging discussion with our guest speakers and who understand that mental health challenges exist within our community. I look forward to their insights and, more importantly, their solutions. A sincere thank you to the 100 Black men of Greater Kansas City for hosting an Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Greater Kansas City Graduate Chapters, Mu Omega, Xi Omega, Mu Omega, and Upsilon Rho Omega, and Beta Omega for co-hosting this forum dedicated to promoting mental health excellence. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Janelle Harvey Jordan, and I am the Vice President of Upsilon Rho Omega, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And she did such a lovely job, and I would just like to echo that we are happy to have everyone here. This is very important in our community, and so we are thankful that the 100 Black men have asked us to be a part of this event, and so we will learn a lot, and we should be able to take this back to our communities. Thank you.
We were setting the mood there a little bit. So I am surprised. All of us are a long way from high school, but I see a lot of things have changed. Nobody wants to sit on the first row.
I want to say good evening to everyone, and I also want to welcome you to this wonderful event sponsored by 100 Black Men and also Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority. My name is Penny Rice, and I'm the mental health coordinator for the Xi Living Chapter. And mental health awareness is so very important. It is a very serious matter, so I hope everyone enjoy. Take some coping skills. We have some on the table, and if you have any questions, you can see a clinician like myself or one of the speakers here. Thank you for coming.
Is that it?
I'll go ahead and on
Rep
behalf
your-
of.
rep your chapter.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Lynette Sparkman-Barnes, and I am the Connection Social Action Co-Chair for Mu Omega Chapter. And so, yeah. Yes, all right. All right. And so on behalf of Mu Omega and our president, Lonnie Stigler, thank you all so much for coming out to discuss this very important topic. I look forward to a robust discussion.
Now, I started, but I didn't introduce myself. I am Jeff Davis, immediate past president, 100 Black Men of Kansas City. If you don't know, many of you may not, this chapter was formed here in Kansas City, December 2006. So we're approaching 20 years right now. So we're trying to keep it going, keep the conversation going. Along with me, Ken Lumpkins is our current president. And if you all will please, brothers of the 100, stand up so everybody can see who we are. So I'm. So for the sake of authenticity and efficiency, I'm gonna let our panelists tell you about themselves and introduce themselves to you so that I don't make a mistake.
Go ahead. I just spoke.
You did.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Cecil Watry, and I am the Division Manager of Behavioral Health and Injury Prevention for the Health Department. I am also an adjunct professor at UKC. I teach systemic oppression, human behavior, and social environment at the School of Social Work. I am also the Executive Director of the Kansas City Black Mental Health Initiative.
Hello again. Dr. Lynette Sparkman-Barnes. I am a clinical psychologist. I serve as Associate Director, Multicultural Specialist of Counseling and Educational Services at KU Med Center, and also a provider and multicultural specialist with the Health Systems Professional Wellbeing Center. So I'm also a pastor, a minister in the AME Church, and my husband and I pastor a church in Kansas City, Kansas. And mom and daughter and sister and all of that.
So now that we've all introduced ourselves, I'm gonna let you know how the night is gonna go. We're gonna hit it quick, we're gonna hit it fast. We're hopefully gonna touch on some points. Firstly, mental health is such a huge topic. It needs to be broken apart, and this is probably one of a series of four sessions that we're going to try and do because we can't cover everything in one session. But for tonight, what we're going to have is we're going to have a conversation with our therapist for 30 minutes. And then we're going to have 30 minutes where you all, yes, I like audience participation. So you all will get to ask questions of your own. But if nobody, like in school, since nobody wants to start farmers row, if you all don't have any questions for the therapist, then it comes back to me again. And then, because I got plenty of questions. So you all ready to get started? Yeah. All right, let's get into this. So first question on the table is, how do you define mental health?
I'm sorry, I'm going to break the awkwardness. Mental health. Just for a second, keep the room for work. So how do you define health? What is the definition of health? What do we look at when we're talking about our mental, our physical, our emotional, our moral, our cultural well-being? Health, the concept of health has everything to do with your physical well-being. Mental health has to do with that just being about your well-being, your health, how well you take care of yourself, thinking more in the sense of wellness. But health can go either way. I know that the concept of mental illness tends to be how we refer to mental health, where mental illness is where someone's health is more or less is causing disorder in their life. But when we're talking about mental health, we're talking about the spectrum. We're not talking about it being just on it being a good or bad thing because you can have good or bad health. So in that context, think of mental health being good as good or bad health.
So, yeah, and I'm just going to piggyback off of that. I think when I consider mental health, and I mean, everybody can look up definitions of what that is. I'm thinking about in my practice, in our practice as clinicians, and for me, mental health refers to an authenticity and an alignment with who we are really meant to be, psychically, emotionally, spiritually. And so for me, it's in alignment with all of that. And as I think about mental illness and disorder, I think about being misaligned emotionally, misaligned culturally, misaligned spiritually. So that's what mental health is. That's the concept that I use.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that. I like what you did there because I want you now to share your thoughts with me regarding your relationship of a person's relationship of mental health to their overall health.
Yeah. Well, if you're misaligned, nothing's right in our lives. Okay, can we just be real tonight? When we're misaligned, when something is off in our emotional selves, when something's off in our spiritual selves, when we're not feeling authentic, when we're not feeling that we're walking authentically in who we actually are, then we're not healthy. We're not healthy, and then we seek out things to help us become better aligned. Some of those things are positive, and some of those things are not as positive. But that's what it has to do with our overall health. When we walk in this alignment, we're not right. We're just not feeling right in some way, shape, or form.
I agree. And building you talked about disorder. So the majority in the DSM-5, which is the diagnostic book, it refers to disorders. We often try to think of them as diagnosis, but a disorder is something that causes disorder in your life. Simply, for example, we all behind our ears in our amygdala have a polyvagal nerve that goes from our heads behind our ears all the way down to our feet. When this nerve is activated, 14 different chemicals is released into our bloodstream, affecting how we. Here, I'll put it to you into this context. You can't really use the bathroom when you're running from a bear because your body does, your brain does. When it seeks danger, it releases those 14 chemicals into your bloodstream. It pulls blood into your major muscle groups. Why? So you can fight or flight. So, and imagine these chemicals being released into your bloodstream imagine these chemicals being released into your bloodstream, and it takes 45 minutes for them to dissipate from an initial event. Think about your lives. That is every time you are activated to stress. The aspect of disorder that it causes in your life, it also causes disorder in the body. The mind and the body are connected. Without them being in alignment, they will constantly cause disorder, toxic stress on the body, and literally affect our life expectancy, not only our daily life, but our life expectancy. Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head when it comes to being out of misalignment.
So here's a comment that I know I'm pretty sure we've all experienced this somewhere along the way. Even this week, I shared the flyer for this event with a friend of mine. I shared it with several friends of mine. But there was one that called me and went off on me. Jeff, what's wrong with you? I'm not crazy. I don't need to see them. And I was like, I shared it with all of them. And this person just went in on me. And I just let them get it out. About 10 minutes later, and they finally stopped and I said, I invited you like I invited all my other friends. Even if you couldn't come, I'm not saying you're crazy. This is just something that we need to talk about. In our community, we don't talk about this because, the stigma of being crazy, people rather deal with it, which leads to other things that aren't good. But my question for you guys is, if we suspect somebody that we know, friend or family, that may be struggling, how can we help them?
There's a sentence that I would say commonly to anyone in the room: seek to understand before being understood. Like approaching someone, asking them what's going on. For example, a therapeutic approach known as motivational energy utilizes an acronym called OARS: open-ended questions, affirmations, reflective listening, and then summarizing. The aspect of being able to ask open-ended questions don't even come off as questions. They come off as like, help me understand. What's happening? Can you tell me how you're doing right now? Because the open-ended questions, often closed-ended questions. Here, I'll ask these questions. What's wrong with you?
Nothing.
Closed-ended question. Is there something? Are you okay?
No. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Am I?
Tell me how your day went. Okay, I hear you. Affirmation. So what I hear you saying is reflective listening. No, I'm not saying that. No. I ain't saying that, bro. Oh, okay. So what are you saying? In that aspect, what you are looking for is you're looking for two things. You're looking for sustained talk and change talk. Is the person sustaining where they are, how they feel, or they're looking to change how they feel and where they are? So utilizing that ORS is a way of approaching someone, seeking to understand before being understood.
Well, and I think the main part of that is have the conversation.
Absolutely.
Okay? Because far too often we just don't have the conversation. You talked about your friend and well, why are you doing that? Trying to stop a conversation before it even begins. And that's what happens in so many of our households, and especially so many Black households. All right? We don't want to talk about it because Black folks aren't crazy. That's white folks stuff. I'm just being real. Can we be real in here today? Okay. I'm just being real. That's what we say. And so we don't have the conversation. However, everybody in here probably had an auntie or an uncle or a cousin or somebody like that who never liked to get out of the bed, who laid in the room with the drapes closed all the time, or someone who was quite anxious and we just said, oh, they just got bad nerves. They gonna be all right. But we don't have the conversation. We don't open our mouths to even say, you know what? Something doesn't seem all right. I care about you. You may not want to talk about it with me, but I'm letting you know that you seem a little bit different. Your behavior is a bit different than it was. I notice that you're in the bed so much now. I notice that you don't even go to work anymore. I notice that every time you come around or every time I come around you, you don't smile the way you used to. We have to start the conversation.
I agree. I believe that as Black folks, we have a lot of traditional paradigms that are saturated in survival. Those of you who have experienced any type of trauma, we are often told to keep going. Keep going. If you're in the middle of a battle, you don't have time to wait. You have time to talk. You have time to think. You have time to move. And oftentimes, that traditional paradigm from slavery is built upon generation, upon generation, upon generation, where something that could have been somewhat oppressive now becomes tradition to us. And one of the biggest things that becomes tradition to us is not talking, not saying anything at all, not bringing it to the forefront. What happens in the family stays in the family.
Yeah.
But we have to understand that our family is a lot more expansive than we get off. When we are not even able to talk to each other, then we experience what I call learned helplessness. I know I'm helpless, and I've learned that I am helpless. Why? Because I don't have nobody to talk to. What about your family? They will tell me to shut up. Don't even bring it to me. Oftentimes, we're addressing our own insecurities when we're addressing others. Attachment is an essential need for us.
Yeah.
And authenticity is an essential need for us. But oftentimes, we will deny the authenticity of ourselves, which makes it second nature. I don't want to say anything because I'm afraid of all these relationships I'm about to lose. Attachment and authenticity are essential needs that is the reason why we have to talk to each other, or else we will have disorganized attachment with each other. We will silo each other up. We will isolate, which speaks to the condition in which we're here to address right now.
But you're so right, and it is so rooted in our historical trauma. So rooted in that. And so what was once adaptive and functional, right?
Right.
Okay? Because no, I'm not going to say anything. If I say anything, then Master's going to take notice and break up the family or do something. There's going to be violence behind it. And so we're not going to say anything. We have to keep it pushing. We have to keep it moving. It's survival. It's survival. It's survival. We're in 2024. And in so many ways, we're still on survival mode. Now, don't get me wrong, because we are still in a state of trauma, in a state of historical trauma. Okay, I'm going to be very clear about that. What we have to understand is that some things are no longer functional. Some things are no longer adaptive. Secrecy. Secrecy is killing us. Did you hear me? Secrecy is killing us. What happens in this house, stays in this house, is killing us. It is preventing us from getting the care that we deserve. no longer adaptive. It is no longer functional to our alignment. Hence, no longer functional to our well-being.
So I want to ask, how many people want to work today? So there comes a certain level of stress along with work. Now, in your head, I don't want you to respond to it. I speak for myself. There have been many occasions I wanted to check somebody out at work. I never advocate violence. But you know, you have that image in your head like, ooh, if I could just, makes you feel better just thinking about it. So where I want to go with that is, can you professionals recommend some coping mechanisms for us that are in challenging situations at work?
I appreciate you keep it in your head. Your mandates and reports. Right. First, I want to acknowledge that is so true. Job, employment stress is so real. And we have to just admit that. So often we just try to play like it's not happening. But we have to admit that it's real. We're burned out. We're stressed. We're bullied. We're harassed. We're isolated. How many of you all work in a space where you are maybe the only person of I don't even have to. That's hard. That is hard. I just realized that I was last years old. New phrase. I was last years old when I finally had a colleague of color. Yeah. I've been a psychologist for over 20 years. And that just happened in 2023. Yeah, there are many times I did not want to go to work because I was so isolated. In many respects, me and my colleague, we're on two different floors. We don't even see each other. It's good to know that we're there. So isolated. Folks say something sideways in the staff meeting, looking at you. You have to be the one to speak for your race, your gender, your profession. It's overwhelming. It becomes quite overwhelming. So yeah, in your head, you want to. I will tell you just one strategy that has really worked for me, and it was something actually my husband really encouraged me to do. My husband's part of The100 back then. He's sick and so couldn't come this evening. I really believe in taking out your aggression physically, if you're able to do that, not necessarily on the person. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. You know, we talk about punching pillows and things like that. My husband's a martial artist. He's got 2 black belts in karate. And so he said, because folks, if you don't get nerves, not just the last one, but your spare one too. And so we have all kinds of weapons, but we have all kinds of punching bags and things like that at home as well. And he just pulled out the bag one time and he said, "Give me a roundhouse kick." And I started kicking and I started punching. And he said, "Now imagine," I won't say the person's name, "imagine so-and-so's face right there." And I started kicking and I started punching harder. And probably 20 minutes, I'm sweating. But I felt so much better.
That sounds like the visualization I was talking about.
Not all the person. Right, right. But just as a strategy, because I oftentimes, and especially as Black folks, because the stereotype is we're aggressive and violent and all of this anyway. I'm going to tell you something about me. I don't care about stereotypes. I'm just going to embrace it all. All right. And so if I'm aggressive on this bag, you best believe I'm aggressive on this bag. Okay. I know a lot of my patients, my clients, I encourage them, you know what, go to the dollar store and buy up about $5 worth of plates and glasses. All right. And then put it in a box. All right. Get you some goggles on, take a baseball bat, and what you about to do next? Yeah, go to town on that. Go to town. And maybe you're not the person that needs to be physical like I am. My professor will tell us about some other things that aren't as physical. But that's just kind of where I am right now, because I want to encourage us to not shy away from those things that we've been told, oh, you can't do that. Who says? You know how much you have to pay to go to a smash house? Yeah. When you can spend $5 to $10 and make your own smash house.
At Dollar Tree.
Okay.
At Dollar Tree.
At Dollar Tree. Yes. Yeah. So here's a few strategies.
So, yep. She did. No, she did. But so you use the term coping mechanisms, which is often a term that's used within the field. I used to do this. I used to separate two terms. I used to separate these terms because I wanted people to understand, much to the same effect, the spectrum of coping mechanisms or skills that's needed. First, let's start off with this: static and dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
So, static coping mechanism or skill is based on the fact that I need to do this once. I need to get this out of my system right now. I just need to do something to cope to get this out of me right now. Ugh. And then we talk about dynamic, the things we have to do as routine to ensure that we are continuing to cope on a daily basis, especially when we go to work and we are gaslit at work. Let me define gaslighting before I go any further. In the aspect of gaslighting is when you are surrounded by an opinion, or even so much as it could be only one person, it could be a plethora of people, but they have an opinion and they keep telling you, oh, your opinion, I don't think that's accurate. I don't think that's right. I'm pretty sure I checked my numbers. No, I'm not sure that's right. Well, my numbers are correct, but they keep telling me I'm wrong. I must be
Wrong.
crazy. Gaslighting is the aspect of someone trying to convince you that you're crazy. So by a show of hands, how many of you at work are gaslit?
Some people like it.
Oh yeah. How many of you in your family are you?
Family's bad about it. Family will do anything that they love. It's like, that's your aunt, your uncle. Just
Again, it comes back to the aspect of being denied your authenticity, which is the reason why something dynamic is needed, because it's something that you're having to go back to on a daily basis. But I'm gonna draw the reference to a coping skill and a coping mechanism. I think of coping mechanisms as defense mechanisms. If he was to go, look, he's probably gonna get one of these. And it's not even something I'm thinking about. It's not even something that's really voluntary. It's more in the sense of, oh, brother, I'm sorry. I just knocked that tooth out. I'm so sorry. That's when you think of negative coping mechanisms are things we have to do that we have to build upon. It releases dopamine in the brain, the pleasure center, but it doesn't. It hits it high, and then you're chasing that high ever since. Sound familiar? It's not just about drugs. It's also about the drugs you have in your body, and the way that you can access them. So oftentimes when we have negative coping skills, it's something that we build upon over and over and over again, and we build tolerance for that ends up causing disruption in our lives because it's helping us cope with the here and now. Take coping skills, for example. Let's just define the words. Coping, to deal with. Skills. How skilled were you at hitting that bag?
I got much better at it than I did.
Exactly. I I got better at it the more I did it. Coping skills are something that you build upon.
Practice.
It's something that requires practice, consistency, and to a certain extent, discipline. Please understand, discipline is not providing a consequence. It's not punishment. Discipline is endurance, being willing to withhold the reward, withhold yourself for the reward, knowing what the reward will be. That your coping skills have to be based in that. It has to be based in the skills, things that you are good at, things that you build upon. There was an exercise that they used to do with kids that was fun. Can somebody say the ABCs? Anybody? No, okay, I hear it. But okay, so can somebody just recite to me the first verse and Twinkle Little Star? Okay. Can somebody say the ABC before somebody say Twinkle Little Star? What are we learning? What are we learning here? Don't be confused. Don't be confused. The melody is the same. It's also how we learned our ABCs. It's because before we could even spell or even identify what we're doing, we had to learn a cadence to be able to, we had to learn a skill to be able to acquire the knowledge. So when you talk about coping skills, think of it in that manner. You have to, there is something that you build upon and you get better at discipline. Because I'm pretty sure everyone in here can write a sentence at this point. And it all came from Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. How I wonder where you are. How do we learn to recite our ABCs? Rhythmic. So please take in consideration your skills that you already have before you go trying to find coping skills.
So
Well, you have to tell me to stop, okay, right? As we're talking about coping, I want to talk about the difference between coping and navigating as well.
Yes, let's do
Because
that.
you talk about work, okay? And one thing that I tell people is I am not here to teach you how to cope with oppression. I'm not trying to teach you how to cope with oppression because that shouldn't even be in the same sentence. What I do try to teach is how to navigate systems where you can be empowered to make the changes or to start disrupting systems or instigating changes that need to happen. And so I just wanted to make that distinction
Perfect distinction.
because sometimes we think that we should just cope. You don't cope if somebody socks you in your eye. There's no coping with that. I mean, you can cope with the aftermath of it. But no, we need to deal with that situation because nobody deserves to be abused. So there is a difference between coping and navigating.
Now this is an excellent segue. I'm bringing up an unfortunate event that occurred in Jeff City last month. Some of you may know about it, some of you may not. But there was an AKA soror, Dr. Antoinette Bonnie Candia Bailey, who was VP of Student Affairs at LU, Lincoln University in Jeff City. She took her own life. So we're talking about work. That's at the other extreme of the road. So, Dr. Barnes, can you share your thoughts on that event and maybe circumstances leading to it, or outside looking in, what you can deduce from it?
Yeah, I thought about Dr. Bailey and what happened a lot. And honestly, I'm not okay I'm not okay. I'm not going to lie to you all and sit here and be very academic with you. I'm just going to be real. I am not okay, even right now. I am hurting. I'm hurting that my sister felt that there was no other option but to take her own life. I'm hurting because I don't know all the circumstances, all right? Let's just put that out there. I don't know all of the circumstances. But what I suspect is that there was probably a pattern of loss happening. When you're on a job, and I'm going to talk as a Black woman, and I'm going to talk to Black women, and I appreciate you Black men, but I'm going to talk to Black women. They expect us to be everything.
That's right.
They expect us to be everything all the time. Now, I'm a firm believer that you can't have it all. But I'm also a believer through my experience that you don't need to have it all at one time. As Black women, we're expected to rescue, to revive, to restore, to remember, to renew. Just right now, just the person next to you, just put a hand on the person next to you because people are feeling this. So that you understand we're here together. I can only imagine if Dr. Bailey was experiencing some things that I've experienced before, where people say, okay, come in and rescue all of this, but I'm not going to give you the resources to do it. And I'm going to take the credit for what you do right, and I'm going to tell everybody what I think you did wrong. I can only imagine. And then to have people look at you and say, oh, look, you're in this position, you're the one to do it, and feeling like somehow you're failing or somehow you're not getting it right, because literally they're telling you you're not doing it right and you're not getting it right. And then the embarrassment and the shame that you feel because of that. That goes into the category of moral injury. It's a loss. A loss of, I know I'm a competent person, but somehow you've made me feel like I'm not competent. I used to be a confident person, but being here with you all and in this situation, I have lost my confidence. That's a loss. I don't know what else was going on in Dr. Bailey's life, but I do know that she got to the point where she said, enough. Enough. I don't know if she said anything to anyone. I don't know if anyone even asked her. And if they asked her, how you doing? I'm all right. I don't know. So I want to challenge and charge us as Black women, because we're so used to being everything for everybody all the time. This superwoman trope or schema that has been put on us as a double-edged sword. There's no victory in martyrdom, I hope you know. There's no victory in martyrdom. It's okay to say, I'm not doing well. As Black women, we're so used to holding it down because we got to hold everybody else up. Taking care of everyone, spouses, children, co-workers, church, parents, siblings. I mean, I could go on and on. You all could probably call some things out to me. But who wasn't on the list? So all I can say is, Dr. Beatty got misaligned. And she wasn't on her list. And it's a tragedy.
Absolutely.
It's a tragedy, and I'm not. Okay.
So when it comes to things like that, we don't know the circumstances. I can tell you a personal experience I had a few years back. I couldn't put my finger on it. I just didn't feel right. Something was going on and I didn't feel right. And I tried to talk to my best friend about it. And oddly enough, I was telling him or trying to describe to him what was going on. And he was like, well, man, you better figure that out. If you can't figure it out, keep it to yourself. Fast forward, like 4 or 5 years later, I brought that back up to him. He was like, no, I didn't say that. I wouldn't say that. Now, the funny thing is, he was a therapist. Well, no, he's not a therapist. I take that back. But he's in social work. And he said that, and it hit me, and I was like, no, not to talk to him again. But essentially, I ended up keeping it to myself. And there have been times where, and I want to ask about self-medicating, but I don't, because that can go down the road. But we all know what that looks like. You know, you look at our young people, why do they smoke so much weed? They're trying to escape something. Drinking. You drink to numb the pain. I've been there. I know what it looks like. I know how it feels. Eating for some people, yes. But for like what I was feeling, if a person is feeling a certain kind of way that they can't even identify themselves, what's going on, and the title of this event is Keep It 100, because we're gonna talk to you real time. We're gonna tell you the truth and what we actually feel. The subtitle is Check on Your Strong Friends. So you may look at each other and go, oh, Dr. Barnes, she's strong. She don't ever have any issues. I know she's good. How do you know that? So my question for you all is, if somebody feels off, they don't know what it is, but something's off. What can they do for like a self-check, or what can they do to try to figure it out? What would help them?
You know, it's interesting. I immediately grabbed my phone and started pulling up what happens in the body when the person feels like that. What happens? Here, I'll tell you this. Thomas Joyner. Thomas Joyner is a researcher who studied. He jumped from the Golden State Bridge. He took the lead, and he said, as soon as I left the ledge, I said, oh no, this is a horrible mistake.
So then he went back and he started to interview survivors who had jumped from the Golden State Bridge, and he realized that the correlation was that all of them were saying, "Wait a minute, I made a mistake," and he identified as acute suicide, um, yeah, affective disorder or disturbance. In other words, in that moment, you are already in an altered state. So I'm gonna tie this into kind of the issue that the aspect of which you are kind of hinting on when it comes to self medicating. Um, the majority of the violence that takes place in the city has to do with somebody in an altered state, whether it be homicide, suicide, or otherwise. Whether it be a substance that's already produced in the brain, or a substance in which they induced upon themselves. But um, this acute affective disorder, affective meaning behavior disturbance, has to do with the fact that we often identify this very statically. Like we wait until someone feels this way. Right? You okay? Oh, you good? Oh, we'll plan for that. We'll plan for it, but then I'm gonna leave you alone. Even let's say you had a good social worker. It was like, okay, let's do some safety planning. Let's do some safety planning with you. Let's figure out some of the categories, some of the things that are triggers for you that have gotten you to this point. What has happened to you? See, let me pause there for a second. What has happened to you?
Yeah.
Not where you going?
Or what's wrong?
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, brother? What's happening with you? Like, what's wrong?
There was a trigger. I saw an X.
So let's plan.
Right.
Let's plan around it. Let's see how you can navigate this situation. But oftentimes when we're talking about suicide assessments, or even so much assessing a situational planning, it's static. Is okay. I'll see you later, and we leave it alone. How enhanced enhanced assessment, and I'm using the word assessment, but let me just say conversation.
Yeah.
Because what you do in that conversation, in that planning, you can identify risk categories. You can prioritize risk categories. You can know when you are in that altered state that what you can do to get out of it. It's something that is an ongoing conversation. I think that is the biggest thing that we're kind of emphasizing here. That you have to be able to conversate. Even checking in on someone, asking what happened to them, even in the aspect of planning with them, there is follow up. There is a hey. So when we talking again, like, because you can't just say it to me and then just be there if you don't. We have to have empathy with each other. Here, case in point, how many of us are sympathetic to what happened in this situation? Sympathetic. Oh my God, I'm just gonna pray about it. I'm just gonna, ooh wee. Sympathy often can drive disconnection between us because it's like, hey, oh man, that's great, cool. Whoa, I mean, wait, hold on a second, time out. Sympathy. What did he say to you?
Right.
See, sympathy, or even through family, we will at least the heck out of somebody.
Yes.
We will. Does anybody know what I mean by at least? Well, girl, at least you got that job. It could be worse. Do you know how much that denies that you ain't even addressing what I'm going through? Well, oh, bless your heart. That's sympathy. And look, we have all the best intentions in the world, but you understand, I'm trying to get away from it because you didn't trigger me. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. Ooh, I'm just gonna pray for you, brother. I'm gonna pray for you, but I'm gonna need you to go to the other side of the room, stay in that corner, and you can cry in the corner, but just don't cry next to me. The reason I'm joking, but in all honesty, I don't have to ask the question of what happened that played up to this. the majority of the conversation in which we've had here is about our traditional paradigms also placating the situation. And then we go into, well, I'll just name it, white spaces, systems that only exacerbate that. So I'm dealing with this at work, and then I go home and everybody's telling me, bless your heart. Everybody's saying at least you're the VP. At least we have a sister sitting at the table. Empathy. Brother, man, that sucks. I'm sorry you want to do that. But hey, I mean, I can't even really imagine, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I can't.
Right.
I can't imagine. I'm not in his body, I'm not in his experience. I haven't lived his life. But what I can do is just offer him the space of, hey man, I'm right here.
Yep. And I'm glad you said that because this next question is on you. So I want you to talk about unique differences between how men and women function and handle their mental health.
I don't know if I'm going to go first.
So loaded. I don't think it's so loaded. I'll talk as a woman. She, her pronouns. I'm a doer. I do. And I think I'm probably in the room with a lot of doers. All right? So something's bothering you, something's going on, but you still gonna do. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna cook that. I'm making dinner. Oh, sure. They give you a call. Yeah, I can be there. I can do that. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the event. I'm gonna do. It's a defense.
Mm-hmm.
It's a defense. I'm going to do. I love to bake. I started baking as a defense because of anxiety and chaos around me growing up. And so what I could control was butter, sugar, flour, eggs. The oven set at 375. I'm going to do. We are doing ourselves into the grave. I want to make that clear. Black women. Diabetes. Hypertension. High cholesterol. Cancer. Irritable bowel. Migraines. Oh, I'm stepping on all kinds of toes. We are doing ourselves into a grave. So I think that is our main defense that we also use as coping is to do. I will also say, though, something that sets us apart is that we will connect with one another. We will connect with one another. You know, there's a reason that women live longer. There's a reason that
I'll follow you. She's right. But obviously they're lying. Yes. They live longer.
we live longer because we have relationships. We are relational. And that's a protective factor. We should remain relational. You know, I'm going to bake, and I'm also going to call somebody and say, you know what, I got 5 dozen cookies. I'm going to come and bring some over to you. That's relationship. That's relational. And so, yeah, you know, if I show up on your doorstep with all these cookies, I have friends that are just like, what's happened? That you turned into Betty Crocker today. Okay? We're relational. And that's so very important for us to be.
Hey, there's brothers in the room. Brothers, how many of you are, and I just, by a show of hands, how many of you are in your own definition, emotionally available? If it's taking you a little bit of time, your arms is kind of like, if you had to think about it, I draw a reference back to what I said in the aspect of authenticity. Men deny other men's authenticity all the time. You don't feel that. You don't feel that at all. You better put that away.
Raised that way.
Absolutely. What's our first attachment? Whether it could be mother, it could be father, it could be both. But if they deny your authenticity, or it's usually based off of their own insecurities. I don't want to hear that. Shut up. What you doing? Quit that. Come on. Get up. Get up. Stop. You look, you're being melodramatic. We laugh, but that's denying someone's authenticity. And even if you said you're raised that way. So what does it teach you to do? It teaches you to stuff it. And the thing is that I like that there are books that help me describe this because the body keeps score when you stuff.
Yes.
Although, like I said, toxic stress and fight, everything kind of leans into everything I've said already. It's kind of leaning into what our current condition. We don't talk about how we feel. We stuff it, and then we implode.
At the wrong place, at the wrong time, with the wrong person.
And I want to actually touch I want to touch this part, the relational aspect. How many black men again, how do you feel, how much do you feel that you can be committed to something? By show of hands. How many of your commitments are transactional? Do you guys know what I mean by that? Mm-hmm. How many of your commitments to I don't know, significant others is transactional? Don't answer that. Yes. I'm not trying to get nobody in trouble. Yeah, I'm supposed to. No, we're not supposed to say. Oh, but here's the reason why I say that is this: when we operate from a transactional place, we don't have an opportunity to be relational because we don't have access to how we're actually feeling. And even the aspect of being authentic, we're selling ourselves. We sell ourselves. And I put it into you into this context of selling yourself because you expect something in return. You expect something in return, and the thing is that you have not even been able to receive what is coming back to you because you have stuffed it and blocked it and kept it from you. Oftentimes we struggle to be relational, even with each other. We are often in competition with each other. We see vulnerability as a weakness when everything that we should see from our counterparts is how adaptive it can make you. A friend of mine gave an analogy. Men are sharks, apex predators. Like sharks don't swim backwards. Sharks grow teeth. They are literally born to kill. If any one of us went to Longview Lake and saw anything just come up out of the water, I'm going to assess it from dry land. I'm going to be like, I don't know what that was, but I had to make sure that I wasn't in the water to find out what it was. That's how afraid of sharks we are. We live in the Midwest. We are landlocked. And let a fin come up out of the water and see how people move around. Conversely, if you were to look at that shark beached, a 3-year-old can walk up and poke it in the eye. Why? Because the shark's not adaptable. And here's the funny thing: a shark will drown in an oxygen-rich environment, and they breathe oxygen. The gills translate to water; it takes the oxygen out of the water. But on land, you drown. So what does that mean? So that means that someone is trying to show you love freely. You don't know what to do with it. The traditional paradigm of being men, standing up and having to be a strong figure, is often based on those survivor skills that we needed to be, much in the same fact as our counterparts, in the sense that in order for them to survive, they had to be relational, they had to be doers. We felt that we had to be the strong point, the stoic, the rock, not recognizing that we had hardened ourselves up to where we are so fragile that if we fall, we fall. It is a need for us to have more of a relational commitments. It is more of a need for us to be authentic with each other. It is more of a need for us to express ourselves with each other. And it is something that often plagues life expectancy. you stuff emotions for so long, and you don't get access to them. It creates tension in the body. High blood pressure, diabetes, all the things that we can speak to our ailments is also based off of how we live our lives. Not just on what I'm eating, not just on what I'm drinking or what I'm doing, but rather in the sense of how I'm treating myself, how I'm taking care of myself, how I'm taking care of how I feel. Because if you deny yourself feelings, then guess what? Your body just kind of fills up with a whole bunch of cortisol, and you get real tense. Has anybody ever been a fence for an hour and then try to write a sentence? Like, I'm not saying that I don't ask you to experiment with that, but what I'm saying is the conclusion you can come to is that it's going to be really hard for you to write. It's going to be really hard for you to be clear, concise, or even understood on paper. Yet we walk around, even towards each other. Please understand that what happened last week was based off of one sentence. What are you looking at?
22 people shot, 1 died.
Because emotions cannot be accessed. Because this is transactional. And if I'm not trading words, I'm trading something else. That is the thing that, like I said, our survivor skills do not translate to living skills, and that is the traditional paradigm that continues to plague us. We are more concerned, not even so much about safety, but more in the sense of position, to be the lead, to be the strong man, and not recognizing that the strongest man is the most vulnerable one, because he's the most adaptable. Because he can adapt to multiple situations. He can navigate rather than cope or avoid. So that is the biggest thing that I think as men, when it comes to our mental health, when it comes to our health entirely, the availability to be vulnerable and understand that that is not weakness, that is adaptability. Yes, you have the potential to be harmed, but you also have the potential for long-lasting connection. And that is the biggest thing that we are missing right now is connection. So we're isolated, and we need to break that out.
So at this time, do you guys like what we've been doing here? Like the conversation? Like what's going on? So if you remember in the beginning, I told you, or I asked them the question about overall health and mental health. So in everybody's chair, there was this sheet. Take action for health. This is a national movement. 100 Black Men of America is partnered with Take Action for Health. There is a QR code on each sheet. What I'm asking you all to do, simple as, just scan the QR code. It's going to take you to the Take Action for Health website. Just go to the website and check it out. They're just checking the traffic, and it's starting the conversation like we're doing tonight. We want to start the conversation, but we don't want it to start it. We want to keep it going. And so keeping it going, look at the website. It may trigger some thoughts of either you or somebody else you know. Hey, when was the last time you went to the doctor? Professor White, you didn't say it, but we, black men, don't like to go to doctors. Women go to the doctor every time. My mother is like, slightest thing, I'm going to the doctor. I tell her something, she's like, going to the doctor? I'm like, why? What am I going to the doctor for? I know what's going on with me. But overall health is tied to mental health. So I would appreciate it if you could scan the QR code. If you don't have the scanner on your phone, find a youngin, have them load the app, and then you can scan it, take the flyers with you. You can share it with friends and family, and we'll just keep it moving like that. Now, at this point, question for the audience, do any of you have questions? Because if you don't have questions, we're going to keep rolling up here. Got a question over here?
I don't think that.
Okay.
Do either one of you,
Stand up, please.
do either one of you have an ice-breaking approach to a person that we may see struggling, that we can gain their attention to be successful in helping? Either one.
So the question was, do we have an ice-breaking approach that would be successful when we see, when somebody that we know is struggling, or we think that they're struggling, something like that, okay. So I don't know if there's like one surefire approach. One thing I like to do though is be very specific, because when we ask, how are you doing? People are just gonna say, I'm all right, okay, fine. And then we generally don't ask anything beyond that. That's why I keep telling people, when you walk down a hall and you say to somebody, oh, hi, how are you? We just keep walking. Don't even wait for an answer. If you ask someone, how are you? Please wait for an answer. What they say after that is very pivotal to what your next move is going to be. So even saying, hey, how are you? And they could say, fine. And you could go, well, you don't seem fine to me. I've noticed A, B, C, and D. Hey, I'm kind of worried about you. Or hey, last week you seemed to be like this, but this week you're not smiling like you used to. And so I think when we're able to be specific about what we notice in people, then it's harder for them to deny or to avoid or to even shut down. Of course, coming from a place of care, somebody could just be like, damn, leave me alone, I don't want to talk to you, and walk away. And that is their prerogative. However, that doesn't mean that we stop trying. We can't be like we are on a daily basis and ask the question while we keep walking.
Have you ever, for anything, for any voter registration, has anybody ever seen the booth or even possibly worked the booth where someone is, hi, we're asking you for your signature because we would like for you to support blah, 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 and you see people kind of just go, nah, walk on me by, right? I've seen people be very strategic with this in the sense of because, hey, can I talk to you about your reproduction rights? Hey, can I hey, how are you? Hey there. Hi. Tagging on actually what you said, which was hey, I just noticed that you are, this is what you are going through. Because the thing is, the reason why I reference the person going past you is because you have no rapport with that person. They don't know you. They don't know you from jump. And the idea that they could walk past you, I don't know you. I don't have to talk to you at all. So when you refer to icebreaker, it depends on also the situation. It depends on rapport. Because if I have rapport with someone with great rapport, I have great expectations, which means that you can expect from me to go, hey, I just noticed, because we've been hanging out for a while, that you went from here to there, and I just want to know. I just want to check on you. I just want to make sure you're good. And or can you tell? You don't have to tell me what's going on. I'm just checking on you. That's for a person with rapport. Hey, good. Oh, hi there. Hey, how's it going? Oh, wow. No, I just wanted to say hello. I wanted to check to make sure you're fine, make sure everything's good with you, and make sure that nothing. I'm just checking. See the follow up icebreaker is not really anything but a simple lie. It's the after. It's after that really is the conversation. That's the real conversation. Because the hi, how are you is getting someone's attention. You got it as soon as you say, hi, can I just talk to you about But it's that, hey, like, can I talk to you about you? Can I talk to you about you? Like, nobody wants to talk about this, but I just want to talk about, hey, just want to, I just noticed something. I just thought that I would just want to just check in. I have this habit of checking in on people randomly, just asking them how they're doing, and then when they say fine, I go, oh man, so what's so fine about it?
But you gotta stick around for the response. 'Cause a lot of people will do it, and they're like, "Oh, dang, you actually want to talk about something?"
They let I go. But it's still like, hey, just checking on you as they walking in. I just make sure you're good.
Right.
Because here's the thing: the reason why the icebreaker is so important because sometimes that's enough, even for the person who keeps walking. Because wow, somebody checked in on me. That's crazy. Some random dude just came up to me and was like, "Hey, you're there. You are. You're there. Stay there." Yeah.
Well, and even as you're talking about the research with the Golden Gate Bridge and everything, how many of those folks said, they stood there just waiting for someone. They were waiting for somebody just to say, "Hey, are you okay?" Or "Hey, what are you doing?" And people would just pass them by.
Oh, look what he's doing.
Right. They
Oh,
just pass them by.
These days, it's like, oh, just wait and see.
That's it.
Very, very. So,
Mm.
any got another question over here? You need the mic, or you pronounce and enunciate is what my teacher used to say.
Sir. Okay, so I am an OPC, and something that I run into a lot dealing with people in the Black community is the dismissing and devaluing therapy because of our foundation and our faith, in which you can know in the Black community we're very strong in Christianity, which I do believe is a protective factor.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, I run into a lot of, but I don't need therapy because I got Jesus, or I could just pray in the way, or And so, how do you all approach acknowledging Christianity being important and also being in alignment?
I am so glad you brought that up. So, as a clergy person, of course, I get that all of the time. And even as a clinician, as a psychologist, people will say that. And I'm very honest. I'm very honest and upfront to say prayer is powerful and prayer changes things. And God also created people to help you along the way. So it's not mutually exclusive. We can do both, can't we? Okay. We can do, please pray. Please, look, I will pray with you. I'll pray with you. We can pray right now. And we're going to do this treatment.
Yes.
Okay? Because God said, be in your path for this very reason. All right? Can I be made part of the answer to that?
The other thing is that people assume that therapy is from when like you need to fix it. I need to fix it. I need to fix it. And I'm expecting. I want Jesus to fix it. So I don't want you to fix it at all. You can't fix it. But Jesus can fix it.
Take it to the altar.
Yeah. So, but I think we get lost. I think some of us get lost. We have to. I spend my first session, even in consultation, asking the question, "What do you think therapy is?" What, like, please tell me your definition of therapy, because although you may have come here seeking therapy, you may have been in contemplation about therapy, but I need to know what you think therapy is first. Because if I get to talking, oh, whoa, wait, oh, whoa, this ain't it. I didn't come here for this. I came because something bad happened to me next week. I want you to literally pluck it out of my head, so I don't have to think about it no more. Like, don't you have some magic wand to kind of do that? Because this is the only time my pastor told me to come here, because they said you can't keep coming here and doing this. I've literally had somebody say that, where their pastor told them to come see a therapist because they were triggered doing sermon constantly. And I have to say this: therapy is about growth. Therapy is about growth. It is about the fact that the things that have happened to us, even if you're here to address something that has happened to you, it is based on the stagnation of that growth, something that has stunted your growth, your psychological growth, your emotional growth, just feeling like you're growing within you. You feel you are in a space of languishing. You feel that there's no progress. The idea is this is a collaboration. This is a collaboration between the two of us. I'm human centered. Oftentimes there is a term that we utilize that is client centered. I'm human centered because this is a collaboration. From human to human, my job is to help you, but it's not saying I'm not saying I'm above all and be all, because I'm not trying to compete with Jesus. I refuse. Me and him get on fine. I'm not. I lean on him. So just think you can do. But it is about growth. And I want to be here to help you grow. Treatment is about growth. I want you to grow, because you're either moving or you're not. And at the point where we're praying, we got to ask ourselves: are we moving in prayer, or are we just praying?
Our relationship with the divine is in process, which is what therapy is, which is what treatment is process. And so, yes, I want us to use your spiritual self, your spiritual relationship as part of what we're doing here. Let's maximize it and leverage it in the treatment.
Okay, so we're back to the classroom. Nobody wants to sit on the first row. I'm looking at you guys because we got two questions over here and you all are silent. And I got a third one.
She didn't have her hand raised the whole time. She raised
Right there. I didn't know she was going. Amen. I thought she was.
First of all, I want to thank you all for the gifts that you have shared with us. I think that what you said so far has been phenomenal. My question has to do with the fact that all of us are the product of the families that we grew up in. And the messages that don't work today came from the family, like man up, boys don't cry. And you gotta be twice as good as everybody else. It took me 40 years to figure out how that message was so destructive in my work life. So any suggestions for how we can get in touch with those messages that no longer work for us and figure new ways of adapting to things that will?
I think one of the ways that we approach, I always refer to, I use this word, I refer to them as paradigms, because a paradigm is literally it's what everyone believes in that moment. I tell the story of the Swiss watch. It's the story I tell most of, where Swiss used to make watches, Ain't nobody wearing this watch anymore because they used to be mechanical. When the idea of a battery operated watch was introduced to the Swiss, they're like, that's stupid. No, I don't want that. And then Japanese company named Seiko took it up. And now I'm pretty sure if you are wearing a watch that isn't Apple, it's probably a Seiko watch. But the thing is, that's a paradigm shift. We have to acknowledge the paradigm shift. We have to acknowledge it. We have to be able to draw it out. One of the things that I do in therapy is I do cultural genograms, where living trees, 3 generations back, and we literally look at it and we talk about who said what to you meant. Oh wow. So and they said they got oh. So but what was happening when he said that to you? Like think of the time. Oh, that happened in 1968. That would be the reason why that was said to you. You know, that term is expired. The term is expired and it no longer serves. So I think that what we have to do is we have to actually start to acknowledge the fact that some of the things that we consider to be tradition sometimes don't even really come from us, but rather they don't come from the people that we're taught that have told it to us. It is coming from a situation. It is coming from oppression. It is coming from all the things that. So we do need to analyze and think critically about this thing. So many times have I heard people say, "I wasn't raised that way," and that's the reason why they refuse to change. I wasn't raised that way. That's not how I was raised. Well, if you constantly refer to how you were raised, then you're telling me where you stopped growing, and you're still there. So you can be 40, 50, 60, and still be right there, where 18 years old, standing on your mother's porch. So we have to understand that it's not so much just questioning our traditional paradigms, but actually understand how do they serve us.
And that's what I was gonna say. That's the question to always, and we all should ask ourselves, should say, we all can ask ourselves, is it serving me anymore? If it continues to serve you well, maybe it's not so bad to keep. If it is not serving you well, why do I need to keep it? You know, we make a lot of rules for ourselves, don't we? You don't have to keep something that's not serving you.
Now we're tied 2-2.
Into the nose, out to the nose.
I have a problem with therapists and counselors from my experience with my daughter. Around COVID, she was experiencing some behavioral problems, and he is a Christian Baptist. I'm about the Bible, and I kind of felt like the therapist that she had was going against what I felt like. I guess I am saying that what I felt like, but what was actually right. I was trying to explain it. And I kind of felt like the therapist kept secrets from me. I was talking to the therapist and I'm saying, hey, well, my daughter's feeling this way. Can you let her know, like, that's not the right way to feel? This isn't the right way to go. Come talk to me. It's hard to explain, but in my experience, I feel like therapists have their own agenda on what to teach children. And they kind of went against what the parent wanted, but wanted to kind of please higher up on way of doing things, and that's sometimes the same way in school districts. So what do you say about counselors and therapists that have their own agenda and go against the parent on what they feel like is right? Because I mean, this is my child, I know it's right. You don't know my child from a can of paint. But that doesn't mean just because you're a counselor or because you are a therapist, because you have that degree, doesn't mean that you can tell my child what you feel when I'm pretty much explaining to you what the problem is and asking for help. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
Yes.
No, ma'am,
No forgiveness needed.
you did a really good job explaining that whole situation. I'm assuming that you had to go through an agency or through another system to receive this therapy.
Yes, Blue Cross and Blue Shields. They assigned me. My daughter was going through depression. She was from suicide at a point in time, and I didn't know what to do. And I am a single mom, trying to do the best I can. So, just being a single mom in general, they asked me for a counselor, it was free. But I just felt like when I finally got to talk to my daughter about the counseling session, they were explaining things totally different. It's kind of like, don't come to me, go to school. I just feel like we're not in control of our kids in school. And everyone else is just like, I feel like therapists and counselors, they took away my right of being a parent. So that's why I'm going to say against counseling and therapy, but I just feel like you guys have your own agenda and not the best interest of the parent and the child.
I hate that you experienced this, and I don't like the way that I don't like that you had to experience this. And the trouble is the truth. The truth is that you're not alone. You're, and I don't want you to feel isolated in this event. What I'm saying is that there are a lot of, I'll just say it, black families, black parents who often have this experience with what I'll say is community mental health. I'll put it to that extent. And I'm not speaking bad about community mental health. I'm just being very transparent about the systems that we're dealing with here. Because on that, as you said, the reason why I asked the question is because you said that because it seemed like they were trying to appease the higher ups, which means that there's policy, there's procedures that even the therapist could be locked into, in the sense of we hired you to do this, not to do therapy. We hired you to counsel in this direction, not in the direction of the parent. Because my ethical practices tells me, or my code of ethics, even as a social worker, tells me that you're the expert. You're the expert. Not just your child is also the expert in their experiences and what they go through. The idea of what I'm supposed to do is to be reflective, to provide perspective, and to ask and to try to gear you into a place of your own understanding, not mine, not mine at all. That I don't have it. My goal is to work a treatment, to have a plan. The plan that I work with you and I work with your child, that you're in agreement. The aspect of being client centered, that is an approach that most therapists are supposed to take, which is the reason why I say I hate that you experienced this because you didn't get client centered. You got system centered. And then what that does is that turns people off to even being wanting to even talk to someone like us. Because and I can sit here and defend and say, hey, you've never had therapy with me, so I can say, oh, I'm not that type of therapist. But what I can tell you is that as a therapist, as a person who's sitting here amongst all of these beautiful black faces, the goal that I want is the goal that you have. It has to be your goal. It can't be mine. I can't have a goal. I must make sure that what goal you come to me with is a goal in which you are trying to reach. And I've even had clients who are pissed off at me because I feel like you're trying to put me off. No, man, I'm just offering you choice. And you don't even know. And it gets to the point where you go through these experiences that when, as a therapist, if I say, hey, we can meet tonight if you like. What do you mean if you like? You said, yeah, let's get a little appointment with me. Man, see, here you go again. No, choice. I'm offering you a choice. We go through these systems to the point where we don't even know what choice looks like.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that you understand or not so much as that you understand, that I understand that what you went through was very traumatic. On the primary and the secondary trauma in which you've experienced. And I think that it's imperative that we continue to have options and choices, the lack of choice and feeling isolated with this being your only choice. Would I would not have you think any other way. But the thing that is missing in this conversation is your choice, even the choice of counseling.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for getting your child some help. Thank you for being the mother to say, I'm worried about my child and I want to give my child some help. I know what it's like to have a child who's depressed and who's suicidal. Your tears are my tears. Yeah. And you should, no. There's no apologies necessary. No apologies. No. Okay? We appreciate you for the amazing mother you are. Thank you for that. Okay? Everything the professor said was right on point. Thank you. Thank you for that. I'm going to give you a resource. Therapyforblackgirls.com. Okay? Therapyforblackgirls.com. And I hope and I pray that the next therapist is better.
So, I don't want you to be much, but I lied. You know, I think this is a good spot to wrap up the evening. Hope you all benefited from conversations that we had. Triggered some thoughts to make you think about some things that maybe you hadn't thought about or even considered. But we appreciate you all coming out and supporting us this evening.
I'm sorry, I have one thing. I'm sorry, I have one thing. I'm sorry. I heard you. I have to say this. So, if there are any therapists in the room, can you raise your hand? I'm sorry, it's a little bit higher. I want you to look. Please look at these women who look like you, who are here, who have some of the same life experiences in which you've had. The reason why I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take it, but at the Kansas City Black Mental Health Initiative, the one thing that we saw that this being an issue is the concept that you are having to deal with systems. And within those systems that have not necessarily been on our side, it is hard to find help when that's the only help you need. So what we've done is we've created a Black Therapy Fund locally, where we're asking local Black private practitioners to become members of our organization to provide free therapy to those who cannot afford it. And when I mean private practitioners, I mean not bound by somebody else's policies, procedures, not bound by anything other than their own expertise and their want to actually help their community. Too often do I see private practitioners in this city who are unable to reach their community because they're trying to sustain themselves. And cannot, in order to be able to sustain themselves, they have to have what I call high profile clients or those who are insured. And they don't look like us. So within that, I wanted to make sure that if you are a therapist, please find me after this. I would like to talk to you about this. If you are interested in therapy, free therapy by any one of these individuals, even the people in the room that you talk to, have conversations. Pick one, and I'll make sure you're paid for.
Professor Watry, you don't have to apologize that, but you stole our thunder because we were going to make an open call to the Black therapists in the room. So aside from raising your hand, would you all please stand, the therapists in the room? We'd like to acknowledge all of you. And everybody look at them because if you are looking at somebody that looks like you might relate to, go talk to them after this is over, get their card, ask them questions, whatever you want to do. It's totally up to you. But you see, we have them in the room. So please take advantage of that. So back to where I was at. So we're wrapping up the evening. So as we finish up, our president, Ken Lumpkins, has a few words, and John Brown, a representative from GEHA, Also, we'll close this out with a few words too. You can come up here, John.
All righty, fantastic. Another round of applause for our guests, please. Mr. Watry and Jeff Davis. I wear a few hats, and one is Dr. Barnes said something interesting when we were talking about Dr. Bunny and the suicide, and she started off saying, it was probably lost somewhere, and that kind of speaks to the campaign that we have from the Kansas City Missouri Health Department. Hopefully, everyone has one of these cards, and we'll talk about that. But when we say lost, we support a mental health education campaign with the Kansas City Missouri Health Department. So again, CISO is with that department. And one of the things that we discovered when we were working on this campaign, they asked us to address mental health in an educational awareness campaign, and it was really stemmed from COVID. And the idea was, when you look at COVID, everyone had so much loss of freedom, loss of loved ones, and just loss of overall connection. So everywhere you look, loss of income, loss of your business, everywhere is lost. So how can we change that narrative? And you change it by getting people on that path of winning. So when you see the words "Let's win, KC," that's what it's all about: getting you out of that state of loss into this spirit of winning, and by getting you the mental health resources that you need. So that's what it's really all about. So the card that you have is, a wallet card that you can get at the health department, 24th and Truth. We have them in English and in Spanish. But the goal was to really put something in your pocket. So when you're experiencing moments of anxiety or depression or even anger, we added a panel for anger just based on the homicides and all the arguments that stem from that. How can we calm down? So when you look at the steps here on the card, that's the purpose. So feel free to grab a few more on your way out. And again, you can contact the health department or us directly through the Let's Win KC site, so we can get you some support there. So again, just keep that in mind. The other thing is the website itself. That's winkc.com. So if you need a place to start, we have resources. We have Black therapists in terms of links and all of those things as well. I want to make sure that all of the therapists in the room have that information. We just started a Facebook group, I think, this week as well. So some of you are probably in that. So we want to get you connected to other therapists, but also the community, and address some of the needs that we talked about. Before we get, too far along, I do want to close with a few things. 100 Black Men, when you hear that name, when you see our work, we have 4 core pillars. That's mentoring, education, health and wellness, and economic empowerment. And what really separates us is really the mentoring core of the 100. And sometimes we include a 5th pillar, which is really the foundation of the organization, which is leadership. So when you look at our organization, we want you to see leaders, and we have 2 trademark statements. What they see is what they'll be. So when we talk to kids, and whether it's boys and girls, we want you to really feel that. And the other thing is, especially if you see me posting pictures, our other tagline is "Real men giving real time," and we're just getting right to the point of that. And so when we talk about mentoring, one of the events that we're supporting this Saturday, and it's really for men to really get involved in mentoring efforts and opportunities. It's at the Gym Theater starting at 10 a.m. So it's the Mentor Me program that you have. But one of the featured guests of that particular event has joined us, and it's our fellow brother from the Atlanta chapter, Brother Luis Negron. So Luis, go ahead and stand for me, sir.
They're all over in Atlanta to support the work in Kansas City and to gather us. But one of the things about the 100, and since he's here, I wanted him to come to the front as well. I don't know if he's a fan of sports. Kansas City's a sports town. We love our Chiefs, Royals, KC Current. But when, some history you may not know about the 100 Black Men, one of our founders was actually Jackie Robinson. And so the organization dates back to 1963. So he's one of the people that convened that. And then later there was a board of directors that convened. And here we are in Kansas City. And so I wanted to present Brother McGrone with some Kansas City flavor here.
Thank you, brother.
That's our Monarchs cat. And here's the number 5, Jackie Robinson. Anything you want to say briefly?
I don't think I need a mic, do I? No, just first of all, just say peace and blessings to you and allowing the spirit to flow through you. I think tonight was just excellent. And in light of everything that's happened, I do have to, for the sisters at AK, that AK and the sister that has passed on. When I first saw that posted, I just have to say that the brothers of the 100 in Atlanta, we felt it. So know that we are here in spirit with you and in that. I'm not a therapist, but I'm a wellness coach. So I do understand everything that's going on. And for me, even though I run the 100 in Atlanta, the biggest thing that we do, we talk about when we mentor, you have to be right in your heart and spirit to make a connection. And there's no way we can do the work that we do without having those connections. And then people ask, since we're people of color, we have that spirit and connection. So we have to be able to flow that and get that correct. So I just want to say thank you, KC. It's a pleasure being here with you. I look forward to Saturday. I'm here for at least till Saturday. But I will come back. I have my Morehouse brother here, and then my fellow Luke's here. So I definitely look, you guys have made me feel at home. I told my wife we got to come back and visit, and my information will be available. So if any of you are coming to Georgia and Atlanta, let me know. We'd love to host you. We'd love to see you. We'll feed you some good food, and let's have a good time here. But let's continue to heal and support one another. Peace and blessings. Thank you.
I'm not going to let them get away with talking about nukes, right? So our health pillar, we're proud to support different initiatives, including tonight's forum. But one of our sponsors is for our health initiative is GEHA, and so we have John Brown here today. So I want to thank him and have him come up as well.
I'll keep it brief this evening and just say, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here representing Government Employees Health Association, or GEHA. You might also know us as GEHA Field at Arrowhead. They're a nonprofit organization with approximately 1,500 employees that we have 2 million members. We service retired military and their families and government employees. And I really just wanted to share our proud support of the 100 Black Men, our proud support of the Kansas City community. As you all are aware, we had a tragic event that occurred in our city last week, and GEHA is proud to be a primary sponsor of KC Strong, which is an initiative that is geared towards helping us all heal. Because of that, it's critically important for us. So I want to thank the panelists for the wisdom that you shared. I want to thank the 100 Black for, I am also a member, right? I'm wearing pins all over tonight, right? I'm a member, not only a supporter professionally, but I'm also a member of the 100 because of the mission, one that I believe in. So simply want to thank you all for your attendance this evening. For those in the audience who may be members of GEHA, please know that our presence in the community, our desire to assist and to support you, it's real, and it's evidence in the work that we do and how we show up and when we show up. So thank you all very much for your attendance this evening. Look forward to engaging with you all further. God bless.
So we will wrap up here this evening. Feel free to mingle and connect as we wrap up. We will, of course, have a picture section. So we'll get the ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha and our panelists and the 100 as well. So, and we also want to acknowledge and thank the Kaufman Foundation for hosting us at their facility this evening. So we appreciate that. So again, stay tuned to our work. And as Jeff mentioned, the Take Action for Health, make sure you check out the website. Everything that we talk about, follow us on social media, but our website is simply 100blackmenkc.com. Okay. So
Take those flyers with you, share them with family and friends. I don't want to see none of that.
So we will start with some photos of the panelists, and then we'll get to the AKs, and we will get you all out of here. So thank you. Coming. I need to get your information as well. So this network of shortly.
Look, both of them go. I had a bunch of personality with it, so I was like, 11 o'clock, and I'm like, it's a good thing because things didn't go the way I laid it out. But it worked out because it gave me more time. So I was like, oh, this is cool.
Actually, seated is actually cool. Let's